Vinny, most of you know him. He manages our conversion outreach for Southeast Asia, and is known for his vast number of followers on Twitter, Facebook, Foursquare, God knows what else he does. So
forgot Google Plus.
Google Plus as well. So, so please welcome Vinny, our senior conversion specialist.
Thank you. So I know most of the people in this room, but for those who don't know me, my name is Vinny, and I'm a conversion specialist. So a lot of people ask me, what does that mean? People ask me if it meant I carried a Bible around. Actually, we're trying to figure out what this is. There are only 3 of us at Google, and the other 2 are sitting in London. So we're trying to figure out what exactly do we do. But basically what we're trying to do is help our marketers figure out how do you increase conversions on your website once you get visitors there. And a large portion of my job is actually focusing on measurement, because without good data, it's really hard for us to advise how do you, take advantage of the opportunities and increase the conversions on your site. So I really want to cover 3 things in the short amount of time I have available today, is just to talk about why we should be measuring if you're not already. Understanding what mobile measurement is about, and I'll focus on Google Analytics because that's a product I deal with day to day, and then take you through some examples of how advertisers are taking action on the insights from Google Analytics to actually increase their reach on mobile and get more people engaging on their site. So why do we need to be measuring? I think it's a question I have to answer for desktop websites, but it's also a question that's, I think, even more pertinent for mobile, right? I think what we've seen today is there's a lot of opportunity, there's a lot of new things, and the reality is there's going to be a lot of new things in the next 3 months, the next 6 months, and so on. And so people get a little nervous about what do we do in this space, how do we succeed in this space? And my answer there, when people say they're nervous, is that, well, if you're measuring everything, if you have really strong data behind where you're driving your visitors to, then you don't have to be nervous because you'll have some good metrics to get some insights out of, and then to be able to take that and move to the next level. So measurement, I think, is very key for you to be able to take risks in a new space and to explore those opportunities. So when we talk about measurement and we talk about web analytics or mobile web analytics, what makes me really sad is when I speak to people who tell me they're web analysts and I ask them, what does it mean to you? They say it's all about reporting, which is actually literally this is what they do. They'll take a screenshot of their reports and stick it on a PowerPoint slide and present it to people. What we actually want to do is to move beyond that, right? We want to move beyond screenshots on PowerPoint. We actually want to take action on the insights your web analytics tools can give you. So you don't have to do high kicks here like Mr. Chuck Norris, who personally I think is the best action hero out there, but we can argue that later on. So what does action mean? So it could just simply mean discovering new opportunities, right? So finding markets where you might not have thought there's an audience. It could simply be about just improving and tweaking your marketing strategies. Are you spending money in the right campaigns? Are you targeting the right keywords, the right placements? It could simply be about once they get onto your website, how do you improve the user experience? And at the end of the day, what we want to do is optimize that whole mobile experience for your visitors so that they keep coming back to you and they keep telling their friends about you. So we have a tool which is Google Analytics, which is, you go online, you can sign up for free, and we can do a lot of what I'll show you in the next few slides. But what I also want you to take away is that a lot of the things I'm going to show you in the following slides is not really tied into Google Analytics, right? So if you're using Flurry or if you're using Site Catalyst, just remember, take the lessons from today and try to apply it to those tools that you're using. So what is mobile measurement in the context of Google Analytics? We have a lot of product managers developing the product, and in the last 2 years, they've been focusing on trying to crack the mobile measurement puzzle. So mobile measurement to us at the moment means visitors who visit your desktop website through their mobile device, right? It's about people visiting your mobile websites, whether it's on a smartphone or a phone with a less sophisticated browser. And it's, of course, about your apps as well, right? You're not just mobile on a website, you also have apps. And right now, we integrate really well with Android and iOS, and looking into how do we integrate with other operating systems as well. So, talking about desktop websites here, I deal with a lot of clients and advertisers who always ask, you know, we want to dip our toes into mobile, but we don't know what direction to go in. We don't know what to do. It sort of scares us. So I want to show you an example of how we sort of consulted with an advertiser who do e-commerce in the region. They're targeting this region. And what they could see, what we're looking at here is data from their desktop website. And we said, like, let's look at this information to tell you whether it's worth taking a risk into mobile. And what we could see here, looking at the mobile analytics data, is that basically they're getting great number of sales from mobile devices. People actually going on their Android phones or their iPhones or even iPads and actually making a purchase, even though it's pretty difficult because their website doesn't render too well on a mobile phone. And so looking at this, we said, right, the actions you should be taking is looking at developing apps focused towards iOS devices. Look at Android apps as well. So they wanted to build an app for every mobile platform. This data showed them basically that if they're going to invest in 2 apps this year, it should be on Android and iOS. The other thing we noticed was that sales on iPads were pretty high on a per visit value. It was about $8 per visit. So this also signaled to them that, you know, really bigger screen real estate works. And then it also showed them that really their site needs to be optimized for the smaller screen real estate. So like that example Tommy showed of just Tiffany's creating a mobile optimized site, because it was easier to use on a smaller screen real estate, it boosted up sales. The other thing then they looked at was, you know, where should we be targeting? Who is our audience? What should we be considering when we build these apps? And so we looked at some data here as to, again, for mobile purchases, where did they come from and how much were they spending? And what we could tell of the top 10 countries by mobile spend, you know, 7 of the 10 countries were from a developing country. And so basically what this signaled to them is, all right, when you're building your site, when you're building your application, you need to make sure that it can load really fast on a slow bandwidth connection, right? So your sales aren't coming from the US where there's 3G or from basically a country with fast bandwidth. We need to focus on how do we optimize for slow connections. We even just looked at, you know, telcos. So Google Analytics can also tell you what telcos people are using as they're accessing your website on a mobile device. So this might not be too actionable today, but it's worth thinking about in the long term. Again, looking at what types of speeds do these telcos offer? Or if we were to strike a partnership with a telco and ask them to bundle our app, who are the ones we should focus on? So that was looking at a desktop website, a regular website, and looking at what the mobile opportunity is. I want to then walk you through another case study, which is actually very recent, which Christian's team worked on with Estée Lauder in Thailand. And so Estée Lauder basically trying to figure out, if we go into mobile marketing, how should we be doing it? So we basically ran a small test campaign for them, put in some really robust analytics in there, and looked to see what are the learnings we could get. So basically what it was is they had a mobile website built in HTML5, driving traffic to it. They wanted people to essentially interact with their videos or download their iPhone app, or even just browse around the website. And a lot of questions they were asking in terms of, if we were to repeat this campaign or if we were to invest more in it, you know, where are our users? How are they engaging with our content? What types of devices are they using? And if we're doing mobile search, which sorts of keywords bring in the types of visitors that we want? So, you know, looking at some of the data, for example, one of the things we looked at was they were targeting Thailand, obviously, and how was their audience distributed around Thailand in terms of region, in terms of city? So we see by far, if you know your geography, there's a lot of usage in Bangkok there. Not surprising, I guess they were also targeting Bangkok. They felt that a lot of their audience was in Bangkok. But then when we start to look at the data, we see some really interesting patterns. For example, in Phuket, the average time on site during this trial was about half a minute. But visitors in Phuket, even though it's a low number, were spending double the average amount of time. So this was something unexpected, and this is something that sort of opens up your eyes and think, what could we be doing better in the next round of campaigns? So many ideas as to why people in Phuket are spending a lot of time. Maybe they just connect and forget to log off or switch off their phone. But it could also be because Estée Lauder were advertising skincare products, it could simply be sunburnt tourists sitting in their hotel room trying to figure out, when I go out to the beach tomorrow, how do I make sure I look good and not so red like a tomato? And how do I make sure I don't get burnt again, right? So this could be an idea. This is one of many hypotheses, and it's worth testing. And again, because we have robust analytics in the website, we can go out, we can test a campaign that's purely around, beachside beauty care products and see if that actually gets more engagement out of these beach towns in Thailand. We also looked at engagement by device because we wanted to see if this site was actually engaging with the devices we were targeting and also what types of devices people were using. And it was quite interesting to see that either it was an Apple device or it was a Samsung device that was getting the most traffic and the most engagement. What was really interesting was the Samsung users of a tab, Samsung Galaxy Tab, were more likely, so about 6% of users were more likely to spend more than 3 minutes on the site, which was great. But nobody was playing the videos. It was people only on iOS devices that were actually interacting with the videos. So we need to go back and investigate, is there something about usability on Android that's making people not actually discover the videos or be able to play it? Or is it something about how the site looks on a big screen that makes it hard to discover the videos? So these are, again, ways you would be able to optimize your mobile experience for the user in terms of user experience. Then finally, we also looked at, they were doing a bit of search advertising as well and looking at what were the types of keywords that were bringing in engaged traffic. So you see here that they weren't getting many visitors from their brand terms, so from terms like Estée Lauder or cyber white. But what we could see was actually visitors who came from here were actually more likely to spend more time on the site and actually explore the content and engage with the content. So, an action we can take on this moving into the future, if we want engaged audience from mobile, is to look at, should we invest more in these keywords to see if we can bring more of those visitors, and would they show these same sorts of trends and patterns? So what Estée Lauder did here was basically they've put analytics on their site, they've tested out mobile, and they've been able to get a whole bunch of insights that's really going to help them with their future campaigns and understand how they can get the visitors that they want at hopefully the lowest acquisition cost. So in conclusion, I just want to say that basically when you're thinking about mobile, you really need a strong set of metrics, strong set of analytics behind it, because without good data, it's really going to be hard to make good decisions, especially in a field that's really new and that's developing and evolving really fast. So if you're not measuring today, if you're not measuring your apps, if you're not measuring your websites, go and do it, right? It doesn't have to be Google Analytics as long as you're measuring. If you haven't started building a mobile website or a mobile app, go to your analytics of your regular website and try and find out how a mobile visitor is interacting with that. That way you can figure out, what sort of devices should you be optimizing for, where is your audience located, and so on. And finally, you need to be not taking screenshots and sticking it on PowerPoint. You actually need to be finding insights that you can action. And more importantly, you actually need to action those insights to see your business evolve. So those are sort of my quick tips on mobile analytics. But if you want to find out more, just a quick plug for our next event in KL, which will be in about 6 weeks. We'll be running a purely conversion-related event. It'll be called Go Measure with Google Analytics. If you're interested in attending, as you head out, just drop your name cards with the ladies outside, and they'll make sure that you get an invitation. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.